Welcome back to your daily dose of ancient wisdom. We continue our reading with Srimad Bhagavata, Book 1, Discourse 12, Birth of Pariksit. Saunaka said, "You have already told us that the infant in the womb of Uttara, though destroyed by the formidable Brahmastra discharged by Ashwadhama Drona's son, was brought back to life by Lord himself. We now wish to hear about the birth and exploits of that noble soul of great wisdom, to whom Sukha imparted true knowledge, how his death came about, and what destiny he had attained after death. Kindly narrate all of this to us who are so earnest about it, if you deem lit." Sutta continued. Freed from the thirst of all enjoyments through the service of Sri Krishna's lotus feet, the righteous King Yudhishthira protected his subjects like a father, gratifying them in every way. He had untold riches and had performed many a sacrifice and earned thereby a place in the highest worlds. His consort, Queen Draupadi, and brothers were all devoted to him. His suzerainty extended over the entire globe, while he enjoyed the sovereignty of Jambudvipa. Nay, his fame had reached as far as heavens. But could all these objects of enjoyment, coveted even by the gods or Brahmanas, bring delight to the king who had given his mind to Lord Sri Krishna, the bestower of liberation, any more than the things other than the food gratify a hungry soul? While being scorched by the fire of Brahmastra, that hero Pariksit in the womb of his mother Uttara, O Saunaka, the delight of Bhrigus, beheld some affluent being of size of a thumb, most charming in appearance and swarthy of hue, clad in yellow robes that shone like lightning, and wearing a brilliant diadem of gold. He was no other than Lord Achyuta Sri Krishna. He had 4 long and graceful arms, was adorned with pendants of refined gold, and had bloodshot eyes, and held in one of his hands a mace that shone like a firebrand even as he waved it in circle again and again, himself revolving around the child all the time. He was quenching the fire of Brahmastra with his mace, even as the sun disperses the fog. Perceiving him by his side, the child in the womb wondered who it was. Having quenched that fire, Lord Sri Hari, the protector of virtue, who was infinite by nature and omnipresent too, disappeared in the womb itself, that unborn child of 10 months still looking on. Then, at an hour which was favorable for development of all noble trades, and when the stars in the ascendant were propitious, was born that child who maintained the thread of Pandu's line and was another Pandu, as it were, in bodily strength. Delighted at heart at the news of his birth, the king had benedictory hymns recited and rites connected with the birth of a child performed by holy Brahmanas like Dhaumya, Kripa, and others. The king, who knew the right moment for making gifts, bestowed at the sacred hour of the birth of Pariksit, before the navel string is cut, gold, cows, land, villages as revenue-free grants, excellent elephants and horses, and best food grains on the Brahmanas. Pleased with the gifts, the Brahmanas addressed the king, who was all humility, as follows: "O jewel of the Pauravas, descendant of King Puru, by the will of the providence which cannot be balked, this stainless race of Purus had all but died out, yet the Almighty Lord Vishnu Sri Krishna, in order to shower his grace on you, preserved it by saving this child. Hence, he will be known in this world by the name of Vishnurata, who has been saved by Lord Vishnu. His fame will extend far and wide, and he will undoubtedly turn out to be a great devotee of God and an exalted soul. Yudhishthira asked, will this child share the good reputation of the glorious and high-souled royal sages of his own line, O most worthy souls? The Brahmanas replied, O Yudhishthira, son of Pritha, the grandson of yours will protect his subjects like Ikshvaku, the eldest son of Vaivasvata Manu, who presides over the present Manvantara, and will be devoted to Brahmanas and true to his word like Sri Rama, the celebrated son of Dasaratha. He will be munificent and king of those who seek his protection like Sibi, the king of the Usniras, and like Bharata, the son of Dusyantu. He will extend the fame of his own people as well as those who perform sacrifices. As a leader of bowmen, he will be a match for both the Arjunas, Sahasrabahu, and his own grandfather. Nay, he will be unaccessible as fire and unconquerable as the ocean. He will be a heroic as a lion, the king of the beasts, worth restoring to as the Himalayas, enduring as the earth, and forbearing like parents. In even-mindedness, he will compare with Brahma, the Creator himself, while in graciousness of disposition, he will be equal to Lord Shiva, and he will be the support of all living beings like God Vishnu, the abode of Rama, the goddess of prosperity. In high-mindedness, accompanied with excellent virtues, he will follow the example of Sri Krishna. He will be generous as King Rantideva and pious like Yayati. He will be equal to Bali in firmness and unflinched in his devotion to Sri Krishna as Prahlada. He will perform a number of Ashvamedha sacrifices and will wait upon the aged. He will be the progenitor of a race of royal sages and chastier of those who stray from the path of virtue. Nay, he will subdue Kali, the presiding deity of Kali age, in the form, the path of virtue. Nay, he will subdue Kali, the spirit presiding over the Kali age, in the interest of Mother Earth as well as righteousness. Hearing of this impending death at the hands of Takshaka, a chief of Nagas, impelled by the curse of the Brahmana's son, he will renounce all attachment and take refuge in the feet of Srihari. Having ascertained the truth about the spirit from the sage Sukadeva, the son of Vyasa, he will cast off his mortal coil, O king, on the bank of Ganga and attain the fearless state, the state of the blessedness. Having thus told the king about the future of the newborn baby, the Brahmanas, who were all well versed in astrology, returned each to his own home after receiving their fee. It was this very child who was known all over the world by the name of Pariksit, because this gifted boy used to look for among those whom he saw the person whom he perceived in his mother's womb and who always lingered in his thought. Being fostered every day by the love of his grandparents, the Prince Pariksit grew up very soon, even as the orb of moon, waxing by the degree in a bright fortnight every day, becomes full very soon. The king now made up his mind to propitiate the Lord through the performance of a horse sacrifice in order to atone for his hostile conduct towards his own kith and king. But since he had no money to defray the expenses of the sacrifice, other than the collected as revenue or fines, which was evidently not much, he became thoughtful. Perceiving what was in his mind, his younger brothers, at the instance of Achyuta, the immortal Lord Krishna, fetched abundant riches that had been left in the north by King Marutta and his priests. Having thus equipped himself with all the requisites for the sacrifice, King Yudhishthira, the son of Dharma, the god of righteousness, who was afraid of sin, propitiated Srihari by performing 3 horse sacrifices. Having enabled the king to perform the sacrifices with the help of the twice born, the Brahmanas, Lord Sri Krishna, who had been invited for the occasion, stayed with him for some months for the gratification of his friends and relations. Then, with the leave of the king and his younger brothers, as well of Krishna, Queen Draupadi, O Saunaka, he proceeded to Dwaravati or Dwaraka, accompanied by Arjuna and surrounded by Yadu chiefs, Uddhava, Satyaki, and others. Footnotes. In the line of Dista, the 4th of the 10 sons of Vaivasvata Manu, the Manu presiding over the present one Mantara, there flourishes a universal monarch, Marutta by name, who performed a sacrifice which was unequaled by any other sacrifice. All the vessels used in the sacrifice were made of gold and most beautiful in shape, as per Srimad Bhagavatam, the book 9, Discourse 27. At the conclusion of the sacrifice, the king had all the vessels thrown in the north. Besides, he gave untold wealth to the priests by way of their sacrificial fee. It was more than they could carry home. Hence, they came away leaving a major part of it in the sacrificial grounds. Since all unclaimed property vests in the ruler as a matter of right, the Lord had all this wealth transferred to Yudhishthira and devoted it to a sacred cause. Thus ends the 12th discourse entitled The Glory of Birth of Pariksit, forming part of the story relating to Naimisa forest in Book 1 of Great and Glorious Bhagavata Purana, otherwise known as Paramahamsa Samhita. Thank you.